What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
What's up?
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
What's going on?
In case you did not know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about our favorite games through top 3 lists, debates, open discussion, guests, and reviews periodically. Every once in a while, once we have the money to buy the new games to talk about it. We also do classic. We also do classic reviews as well.
Yeah.
Both are open for discussion. But if you would like to send us any type of communication, email, social media, contacts, anything of that nature, please feel free to do so by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Facebook, Twitter, and subscribing to our YouTube channel where you can watch each and every episode on video like this one. Check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/teamchatpodcast. Also, if you would like to support the show, you can check out our Patreon page where we offer some cool perks for like getting the episodes early before its Tuesday release. If you would like to check that out, go to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast. If not, that is completely okay. We still love making this podcast each and every week and giving you great content about video games. Again, patreon.com/teamchatpodcast.
That was good.
That was good.
Nice.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
even,
Getting
yeah,
better.
You weren't
about
even
it.
cheating.
Wasn't cheating.
I like how
Good work.
accessible we are, even though we're so popular.
I
You
know.
We're such big deals in the podcast world, but we have so many ways that people can reach us.
I know.
That's really nice of us.
And so humble to know that, like,
yeah.
34 episodes in, millions of listeners around the
and
world,
they
and we
can-
can still say, I have a hard time saying the intro for this. We're all about humility.
We
here
are.
on this show.
We are.
All about it. Now, we did have an interaction with one of our listeners, our good friend Brandon.
We had to pick it out of all the thousands of things that we did. We picked one.
Your sarcasm is killing me. But Brandon commented about our last week's episode with our, your good friend Spencer.
Yes.
Talking about different art styles. And it's a longer post, so I'm not going to be able to read the whole thing. But if you want to read it, go check it out on our Facebook page.
Yeah, nice plug.
Yeah, that's right. That's how you get the likes. And he's talking about his experience with the art style. He says, I can't claim to know much about art. I mean, I read a book once. I know, I'm a chump.
Books for chumps.
But that's about it. With that said, I do have some thoughts. Now, I don't really have a preferred art style for games, but I find that games that go for realistic aesthetic tend to have a shorter visual shelf life than games that go for a more stylistic aesthetic. He goes on to talk about how he specifically brings up Halo. Where we're saying that the first Halo Combat Evolved looked great for its time. He thought so. Everyone thought so. But now, as he puts it, Father Time did not treat it nicely. And now
That's not quite how he put it. It was a little.
He says Father Time. Okay, he talked
then
about
he
like it
says,
hitting every branch of the ugly tree on the way down. Okay,
That's a little too much.
my point on that though is that I think I've said this before on other episodes.
They updated the graphics.
They did for Master Chief Collection and all that fun stuff. But a lot of games that strove for realism in like the late 90s, early 2000s, yeah, they look like shit
Well,
now.
yeah, we've
Yeah,
talked about
he's
that.
he's right.
Halo is not alone.
No,
in that.
that makes anybody feel better.
I mean, I was hoping it would make you feel better, but
I just, I still think it looks good.
yeah, it's a fun game. I'm playing it right now on Master Chief Collection.
bad.
It's great. I mean, granted,
The ugly
that's
stick.
updated.
I don't know. There's other games that deserve that comment. I think that's a rough one. that's tough.
I
I'm
always
gonna
think
make you a T-shirt with that.
Yeah.
I always think of the original, like it's PS1, I guess, or maybe PS2 Tomb Raider games.
Oh
Those are
yes.
bad.
Those
Oh
look bad.
man. I mean, even that, if I'm being honest, Legend of Dragoon did not hold up.
I just
well.
saw I watched that video you
man.
put on our YouTube.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
you could tell.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
rough.
it is dated.
Wow, I remember watching
but
the clip from it.
It was, obviously number one on that video because it's the greatest unknown RPG of all time. So
That video is also available on our Facebook page. So if
It
you're not
sure
following
is.
and
You're
liking
gonna
that page,
miss out
you're
on
missing out
all
on
the
a lot of stuff. So
I was so surprised
head
to
on
see
over to
somebody else
Facebook.
talking about Zone of the Enders. I was like,
I know,
are you
right after
kidding me?
Spencer brought it
I
up.
know, right
It's
after
crazy.
he brought up like the Metal Gear demo and all that stuff. I was like, so he wasn't lying.
It's a real thing.
Fact check.
Brandon goes on to say that he does think, though, that games with a different visual style, such as Wind Waker,
Whoop, whoop.
Okami, and Jet Set Radio, despite being more
Nice.
than 10 years old, are still gorgeous to this
Yeah.
day on both a technical and artistic level because they weren't concerned about creating a world as realistically as possible and comparing them to our visual perception of reality.
Yeah, in fact, they did the exact opposite.
isn't really meaningful since they are so different. So yeah, so that's a good point because that is, I will say that I agree with him on that point because the
That's
stuff that I
true.
have seen of like Jet Set Radio, Wind
still, it
Waker
holds
looks
up.
great,
Yeah.
Okami looks great
Because it's-
the different art style, the more artistic art styles tend to last a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's very true.
And then he also calls Mogan and I out. He says, I must have a delicate touch because my PS4 controller is in pretty much prime condition. What are you monsters doing to your 4 controllers?
We're playing
My
Overwatch.
question
God.
as well.
I was just playing Call of Duty one day, and I just looked down. I'm like, oh, why is there a little tear? I don't understand, Brandon, how you, a strong player of Dark Souls and Bloodborne, haven't destroyed your controller by throwing it through your television set yet. But... So I will give you that. Your level of calm and zen when playing these games must be enormous because Mogan and I have each trashed our
We're just
controllers.
fast and furious, man.
That's all. We got that need for speed.
You can't cage us, bro.
No, can't be tamed.
Can't be tamed. That's right.
That's right. All right. But on to the topic of today's show. We are back at you with another list episode. And we decided to talk about, we kind of maybe touched on a couple of these way back in an episode about memorable characters. I know I touched on one. Not on my list today. But today we are here to talk about some of the big bads of video games. Villains.
Villains.
The big baddies.
The big baddies.
The big baddies.
Some mine are not big. Only 2 are.
What's the
Meaning
third
most are big. One is not big.
2/3.
Two-thirds are big.
So
But they're all bad. Kind of. That's the, okay. Never
Ooh,
mind. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
ambiguity.
this one is one that it was most of the time when we have a list, I always feel like we come up with the topic for the list. I'm like, oh, do I know
Wait a
enough?
minute.
But then I'm like,
I've never played a video game
games
before.
have to have villains, so then it's just a matter of refreshing my memory to know which ones to pick. So
Yeah.
I did have to go to a list, and like I picked one that was like 100 villains of all best game villains.
Yeah,
of all
I had to
time.
do that. I had to refresh my memory.
Because, and then as I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I got 2 of my list from that list, and then one that was not on that list, but
Plagiarized.
deserves a special shout. I didn't copy it down. I made my own opinions
I know.
of this villain. I just had to be reminded of it. So here we are.
Just a little Wikipedia.
Little bit of
Little
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
And really-
Actually, I will give credit where credit's due. It was from Game Radar.
Oh.
GameRadar.com.
Okay.
Not affiliated with Teen Chat Podcast.
They could be.
It could be.
They wanted to.
If they
If
wanted
they
to.
Hey, we're open to anything. I love being young and
Now receiving
ambitious.
offers.
I'll do anything. You want to work with us?
We will get into these lists. Who would like to kick us off?
Not it.
Oh, I'll do it.
All right. I feel like you haven't started in a while.
You sound ready.
I'm ready. Have I don't think I have started in a while.
Not in a while.
This
No,
feels weird.
it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Primed and ready. Kick us off with your number 3.
So this one's a simple one. It's no, I shouldn't say that. It's not that it's simple. It's just that the villain. It's almost funny. Like I think it's it's a good number 3.
Okay.
Is it Bowser?
No, it's not
Like-
Bowser. It's not Bowser. It comes from a fighting game.
Okay.
Oh wait,
Let-
can we guess?
You can try to. You can take a couple
Is
seconds
it
to guess.
is it an Xbox exclusive?
No,
Okay.
no.
Killer Instinct.
Hey Hachi. Damn it.
One more guess each.
Dead or Alive.
No,
Street Fighter.
no.
Damn it.
And maybe it's not a character that everyone's familiar with that plays this game, but I think most are. If you play this game, you're gonna kind of know what this character is, but you only.
Probably like Mortal Kombat.
I was
Why
about to
am
say
I
Mortal
thinking
Kombat. What
I
did we
thought
say
one of y'all were
that?
gonna say Mortal Kombat, and I was like, "Who's the villain?" It's like Shang Quinn. What's his name?
Shay.
No, what's his name?
He was on the list that I was just looking at. No, I can't remember what it is. Sorry.
on my list.
Sorry, Resident Mortal Kombat fans.
I'll just say it. Super Smash Bros.
Oh.
Wait,
You don't
in
know.
general?
Do you know?
Oh, do you mean Master Hand?
The hand?
Yeah, Master Hand.
Is that his name?
Yeah, no,
Master
Yeah,
Hand.
Master
I didn't
Hand
even know
and
that was his
Crazy
name.
Hand.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I had to pick Master Hand because I have fought him more times than like Bowser probably in
Yeah.
Mario. I fight him all the time, but in order to get to him, now refresh me, you have to go through.
He's the last boss of the single
Yeah.
player.
Right, the single player mode to get to him, and it's
Right.
like, so you have to like build up, yeah, and it's on that one level that's flying through space, and I think that's also one of the parts of the reason that I like him. But if you don't know Master Hand, if you're not familiar with Smash Bros, which I'd be surprised if that's true, he is the character that does not belong in like in the roster of the characters that Smash Bros is. They're all make sense and they are all from other games and they have context. Master Hands is one of the most bizarre final bosses / villains that I've ever come across. And I guess we were talking about this before. Is it a boss or is it a villain? Is it the same thing? You know, I'm kind of splitting hairs here, and I'm like kind of going into both territories.
Boss villain.
But what's so great about him is you can kind of make up different ideas of what the hands are or who they belong to. So I thought that was kind of
conspiracy theories.
It looks like Mario's own glove.
They do kind of look like Mario's
Could it be
gloves.
My hallucination of Mario, of like him
that's
fighting
really
his own,
taking it.
fighting against his
We've
own
gone
soul.
too deep.
Yeah, maybe so. And for me, they belong to a developer. They're always this really sort of breaking the fourth wall, which I thought was really cool because it was like they didn't. My rumor in my head is they couldn't figure out a final boss. They couldn't figure out an actual character to be a final boss.
Because Bowser feels too cliche.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can be Bowser in the game, so you can't like have him as the final boss. So they're like, well, what are we gonna do? And I think it was almost like a joke. Like it was almost just in there for a little bit, and they're gonna figure out when to. I'm making all this up. I don't know if this is true. It's like I'd like to think that he was just like a placeholder.
Yeah.
And then they just kept him in there because they thought it was like, you know what, it's funny. It's very Japanese to me. It feels very like outlandish but cool at the same time and like oddly makes sense. That's the thing that I've always been impressed by these kind of games is how much like you can put Pikachu versus Mario and like, oh, that makes sense. But like, it really has like no
mortal enemies.
Yeah, right. But there's like nothing about
How'd
that.
you miss
really
that in
makes sense.
Pokemon?
It's just like they do it and you accept it and like and it works after a while.
Yeah.
And Master Hand's actually very hard as well. He's actually a super difficult.
Oh my god,
boss.
he so is.
He's so
I
difficult.
lose to Master Hand all the time.
I don't even know if I explained, but people, it's a big. It's two hands, right?
Yeah,
No,
it's Master Hand and Crazy Hand.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you're
I thought
on
it
the
was just one.
if you're on the higher difficulties.
Yeah, because I remember he was like coming in slap.
Yeah,
and he'll
once
do-
you get like to 4 or 5, it's really not that far along. If you're
Yeah.
like anything too high of a level, it's Master Hand and Crazy Hand.
There you go.
I
But
love
yeah, it's
Crazy
super
Hand.
difficult. Like the power. All he's doing is slapping
Oh my
you
god!
around.
And this is one of the few levels that's just a flat plane. Like even though it's flying through space,
Which
you
is
have
super-
nothing
which is
to
a super
jump on.
interesting-
You have nothing to
to
interact
dodge,
with.
really.
Yeah.
It's just
fight.
flat.
Yeah, because
And
all the
you're-
other levels,
yeah.
Smash Bros. Is so famous for having things happen in the other
Yeah.
levels. Like lava will come up, the level will change.
You can
This
get
is just,
stuck between
Yeah,
planes.
Yeah,
and
platforms
this
will
is
move
just
around.
one platform, and then he comes out from the background. Actually reminds me of Andros from Star Fox. Remember when I was talking about him?
yeah.
Yep.
And same idea. It's like this float. Everything's floating, and you're fighting this kind of. And he's just a big head in Star Fox, and it's like a big hand. I don't know. There's some connecting thing there. I wonder if there was.
Maybe it's Andross's hands.
Well, isn't it in the...
In Star Fox, you
new
fight Andros'
conspiracy.
hands, and he has these like
There
little.
we go,
I know, and
man.
he's slapping you around. It's
Although
very similar.
I am one to go with your train of thought that it is a developer. Because,
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Because at the beginning of Smash Brothers, when you open it up, you follow the gloved hand, and he like starts. He like picks up Yoshi, I believe, or one of the characters, and like is the one that like symbolizes them like animating to where they'll fight or something like that. So I bet you're right. I bet you're on the right track there.
Yeah, well, so
Developer.
it's a cool boss. It's a cool villain that has like no. You just don't know what it is, and you have to make it up for yourself. And I think that's really interesting.
It also makes me wonder, is this how the developers are taking out their rage
Yeah,
on a
maybe
game they've
so.
created that's
Right.
out of control?
Thinking, like, let's put this in there. And let's,
I think it was
beat up
after
these
like
little
one
kids.
of the Smash Wii U updates. What's his name? What's the developer's name? Sakurai? I'm pretty sure that's his name. I don't know. Like there was this really hilarious video of him talking to like the fans, and he had done this update that was like 50 billion swords, new weapons, all this other crazy crap. And he like
For Smash Bros?
Yeah, for Smash. And he looked dead into the camera and he was like, "Never ask me for anything ever again." It was just like, that's hilarious. So I'm pretty sure it's him like beating the crap out of
Probably
this
so.
game.
Everyone shut
And he's
up.
like, "We're done here."
I'm so sick of all you people.
Enjoy my game. Damn it.
Yeah, I know. Just have fun.
God, I miss Melee.
Yeah, right.
We need to go to that Smash Brothers tournament.
When is that?
The store down here does.
Oh, when?
It's like Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Yeah, like
Today's? Oh, fuck.
today's
no,
Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. God.
We messed it up. We changed it. We changed it up for the day.
Oh, that's right. God, I didn't realize that because I can't do tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's right. It's me. It's
we're
my
flexible.
fault. Yeah.
Always you.
It is always me. I am the most difficult person to work with.
Such a prima donna.
Seriously.
I can't help it.
No, it's It's all good. We're all flexible. We can make it work. It's not a big deal. I don't mind. But we should try to hit that up sometime. That'd be fun.
should, 'cause
That'd be
I
fun to
would
go try to
dominate.
wreck some noobs.
I dominate Smash.
I will be wrecked.
I'd leave with like the tail between my legs.
Fuck,
Like,
me
I'm
too.
sorry
We'll be
for
like,
talking trash.
We're podcast hosts. What's up?
Yeah, we got our shirts on, team chat.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, I love that. Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi from,
How do you do, fellow kids?
What's that film?
That's how I feel
That's very
on
funny.
Overwatch when like
Yeah.
there's a kid online. I'm like, oh god,
I'm one of you.
I'm one of you.
Nice.
Master hands. Yes,
Master
yes.
That's a good
hand.
pick.
There we
Good
go.
pick.
Well, it's a good 3.
Well, it's an interesting pick, though.
It's interesting, yes,
it's
thank you.
because it's a different pick because everyone thinks villain, evil,
Right,
but
right.
like here we hit Higeto with a glove.
Yeah, maybe
Well, Master
we're,
Hand
maybe,
sounds pretty evil. He has
maybe
an
we're
evil
evil.
laugh.
Maybe we're trying
Yeah.
to get somewhere that like we're not supposed to get to. You know,
Yeah,
maybe
Master
maybe,
Hand's
There's
like,
a lot of
whoa,
levels.
slow
to this.
down.
Yeah.
A lot of levels.
I
to
know.
this.
He's like,
We
you're
should
not
be
going
writing these
anywhere.
down.
Shut up. And then doesn't he like die and he's like kind of falls?
Oh, he like
this?
explodes. He's
Does
like,
he? I thought he,
or at
like,
least in the
went like
Wii U
this.
version, he kind of explodes.
Oh yes, is he in the Wii U version?
Oh yeah, he's the big bad.
Yeah.
Him and
Big
Crazy
bad boss.
Hand.
There you go.
Oh, Crazy Hand.
Partners in crime. Mogan, what's your third?
All right, so I really cannot, in good conscience, like I thought about leaving it out, but then I was like, I
feel like
can't.
this is gonna be
There's
on my
no
list.
way.
Don't say it.
It might, but is
Don't
it
say
what
it.
we talked about earlier?
I don't know.
You guys have conversations though?
Did you guys speak without me?
You
planned
weren't.
this
You
out?
weren't. You weren't here. You were moving boxes or whatever. So, anyways, I just as the resident Legend of Zelda person, there's just no way that I cannot say Ganondorf.
See, this is interesting that he's your number 3.
Oh,
because
he's my number 3.
He's the
Oh,
number
yeah.
1 on that list that I
Oh,
looked at.
was he?
Yeah.
Well,
go.
now he's number 3. Correction Game Radar or whatever it's called.
I think that was it.
Yeah, gonna check you there. So he's my number 3 largely because my other 2 are so much more, not more iconic, but more meaningful to me. Because Ganon, like, it's been a slow progression over time. It's like you fought him in A Link to the Past, you fought him in Wind Waker, you fight him in Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. Every single game, you're fighting Ganon. So actually, almost over time, it becomes like, oh, this guy again. So in a way, it's like, oh, I fought him 1,000 times. He's not like my number 1 villain. I can kill him with my eyes closed. Are you kidding me? But you just can't ignore him. He's like the iconic villain of The Legend of Zelda. So even though there are other games, usually the smaller ones that didn't actually feature him, like I think Minish Cap, he actually wasn't in it at all. It actually had like this other villain called Vady who was adorable.
Is he in Majora's Mask? Ganon?
No, he's
No?
not.
I
No,
don't think
so
it's
so
like
Majora's
weird,
Mask.
crazy
It's
kid.
no, it's Majora. So
Yeah.
the mask itself
Oh.
is the
But
villain.
isn't there, like, a crazy
He's
kid?
possessing Skull Kid.
Okay.
So Skull Kid like puts the mask on, and then you just like,
Duh, Zach.
come on. How do you not
your
know
facts
these?
straight.
How many times have we talked about Zelda? You think you'd learn something?
I've learned it now. I know the whole universe.
I've
in my
played
head.
the whole game. No need to play him. Played him in my head.
But yeah, so Ganon, for the vast majority of the games, he is the villain. And whenever he's not in a game, it's like, oh, really? He's not even here? And even in others, he might be an incarnation of himself. So, for example, in Skyward Sword, technically, there is no Ganon. There's no Ganondorf. It's Demise. So in Skyward Sword, which is meant to be the 0.0 of the entire series, you're fighting this giant behemoth called Demise that eventually materializes as this more humanoid form, and it's got like flaming red hair and like the kind of dark, kind of very brownish black skin like Ganon, and like the flaming red eyes, and he's like, you fool, I'm gonna chase you down throughout all of history and every single life you ever live.
Epic.
I'm gonna F you up, man. And Link's
What's his
like,
deal? Why is he a villain?
so the thing is, it's kind of like a cool. Well, it's not even really a theory. It kind of is mostly canon. Ganon is almost like a divine joke. Not like a joke in the like, haha, look at this derp, but like in a joke of like, oh man, why did the gods do this to us? Because of course he's the Triforce of Power. He's one of the holders of the Triforce. So, of course, Link has courage. Zelda always has wisdom. He's power. And in the...
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, in the ethos of the Golden Goddesses, the creators of Hyrule. Oh, man, I could go on and on.
About the good book to have a read.
Let me go get
Everyone
my
open
Hyrule
up to page
Historia.
103.
Bible according to
Let me
Zelda.
just go to the mythos and gods. Chapter 5.
Verse 3.
So the 3 golden goddesses, which are Din, which is power, Furore, courage, Nehru, wisdom. They are the makers of all of existence. If you're not counting Helia from Skyward Sword, it just depends
Obviously.
on which game
we know
which
that.
game you're basing it off of. And Din, of course, being the wielder of power, it's like not necessarily a cop-out, but it's like the holder of the Triforce of Power, you could kind of argue, is easily corruptible. And Ganon, in every iteration, that's really all he wants. He doesn't want to destroy the world. He wants to rule it. All he wants is power.
That's good. I'm glad a villain's trying to just wipe everything out.
Yeah,
That
so
makes no
sometimes
sense to
some
me.
villains do that. They're like, yeah, I'm tired of existence, so all of you are going to suffer with me. And it's like, really? Be cool, man.
Dude, have a
Come
beer.
on, dude. Ganon's like, no, I don't care about you specifically. I just want to rule you and be supreme leader for all of time.
Okay.
And that's part of his quest for power, his eternal quest for power. And Link is
good little
like,
empathy for him
man,
there. Ooh, he's
considering how much power you supposedly have, it's kind of crazy that you keep getting killed by a kid. Have you considered a different approach, perhaps?
Keeps cleaning the floor with his ass.
Maybe practice a little bit more. I mean, even in Wind Waker, where you're literally fighting Ganon as Toon Link, Child Link, and Child Princess Zelda, they school him. Link stabs a sword through his skull and turns him to stone. And now there are all these jokes about Breath of the Wild where Link goes to remove the Master Sword and Ganon like comes out of the ground and the sword's in his forehead. and he's
Wait,
like,
what game did these stab him in the forehead?
Wind Waker.
Oh, Wind Waker.
The most adorable toonish of all of
was it
them. Yeah.
blood coming out?
No, there was
Spewing
no
red
blood.
crystals? Yeah.
We wish there was no blood, but he did turn to stone, of course, as
Yeah.
they all do. So it's like he's the guy. He's always the guy you're fighting. It's just like, this mofo again. I'm gonna get him, and this isn't gonna be hard. All I have to do is shield attack at the right time to throw him off balance
There you
and then
go.
sideswipe him. You'd think he'd have learned after thousands of years fighting the same kid, but apparently not.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Can't teach an old dog
No.
new tricks.
He knows.
No,
He
you
knows
can't.
the role he's playing.
Yeah, it's the Triforce of Power, not smarts. Zelda's got
There
that
you
one.
go.
There we go. Excellent.
That's
I didn't
my
know that.
number
That's
3.
actually the most interesting thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I mean,
I
I knew he was the overarching villain, but I didn't know
If
that it
you
was.
Well, I didn't know he had one of the. I didn't know the Triforce.
Oh,
I didn't know
yeah.
Zelda had wisdom. I didn't
No,
know
he's always
Link
got
had courage.
God, you don't know anything
No,
about
I only played one.
This was in Twilight Princess.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like,
One playthrough's not enough to
Yeah,
lock away
I
every
know.
single
How am I
secret.
going to remember all that?
how can you not? I remember everything.
Just remember the atmosphere.
Oh, man.
I remember
I
it looked
do.
pretty.
It looked fun.
You're killing me, buddy.
It was fun.
You're killing me. I'm not sure who's worse, him for only playing one or you for playing none.
I have none.
Equal shame all around, I guess.
It's a stalemate.
All right. Well, for my number 3, I went back to one series that I've played a lot. Hopefully, Zach hasn't peeked and
No, I haven't. I actually just thought about it though. I was like, wait, I should
no
look.
peeking, no peeking.
Get my thoughts in order.
So my villain is the main antagonist of the first God of War game, Ares,
Oh.
who is the OG God of War.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously Kratos has to become God of War, and he can't do that if there's already a God of War walking around.
Can't have
Oh,
two gods
snap.
of war.
No, can't do that.
have
Can't
two
just
gods.
co-manage that position.
It would be great if the second game were Gods of War.
Yeah.
Compromise is king.
Camera real quick. So Ares. Ares was a good villain for me because even though he is really only the main villain of the first one, he is basically the catalyst that puts the story of God of War into motion. There's a ton of backstory and mythology that I could go into to bring it to why he's, to give all these reasons why Kratos hates his guts, but and wants him dead. But basically, Kratos, when he was mortal, leader of the Spartans, he's fighting against some barbarians, and he is getting overrun, about to be killed. And he cries out to Ares, the God of War, to save him, and that if he saves him, he'll dedicate his life to him. And so Ares comes down, destroys the barbarians,
God, I wish it were that easy.
and then gives Kratos his iconic Blades of Chaos, those two swords that are like chained
Yeah.
around his arms. But then Kratos has to pass a series of tests, blood trials as they were. One is to defeat his enemies. Done. Barbarians are all
Done.
dead. Another one is to he has to release his bloodlust. So basically, so like he has
release his bloodlust.
he basically just has to like go crazy on like he kills like all of his Spartan bros with him and stuff. Like,
not his bros.
like he just goes kind of goes nuts. And then finally the third one, which Ares doesn't necessarily share with old Kratos before we get going, is that the third one is that he has to kill his loved ones.
Who does?
Kratos has to kill his own loved ones.
Does he do it?
Yeah. So Ares like makes him attach this.
Fucking dark. I've never played
attack
God
this.
of War.
He makes him attack this Spartan village, and as Kratos is about to go in, this village oracle like tells him like, "Hey, you don't want to do that," and he's just like, "Ah, get out of my way," and he goes in, goes crazy, killing the whole village all over the place. His men are helping him; they're slaughtering everything, and he does by his own hand, in his rage and bloodlust and everything, kills his wife and daughter. And then. He realizes what he's done, is obviously pissed at Ares that he was misguided and manipulated into doing this. The Oracle then takes the ashes of his wife and daughter's body and puts them into his skin. That's why he's white and has that. It's so that the shame of what he's done will stay with him forever, and he'll never be able to forget what he's done. That's why he's got that ashen. That's why he's got that ashen look. So obviously already
tough life.
Kratos has got a pretty big bone to pick with Ares.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit it goes on. There's a lot more like, the gods of Olympus, they're not all just chill dudes. They all have their own thing that they're trying to do, dudes and ladies. Athena's up there too.
Yeah, they're all up there. Come on.
And so, they have their own politics and such and all these other things. Basically, Ares and Athena, they're bro and sister, but they don't get along very well. But it's also
none of them get along.
No, they don't.
That's the whole
and so
thing.
Kratos at this point in the beginning of God of War, he's doing his own thing. He's fighting all the other things, and near the end is when the story kind of comes to a head, where Ares and Athena really clash. But it's against the law of the gods of Olympus to be able to actually declare war on each other. So Ares attacks the city of Athens, which is under the protectorate of Athena.
Oh my God!
Obviously,
what
Athens,
a bitch!
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay.
So since Athena cannot fight Ares. She sends Kratos to do it.
Haha, snap.
But she sends him, tells him basically that the only way that he's going to have the power to be able to defeat Ares is to find and open Pandora's box. And so that becomes a big.
Is this all in game one?
This is all in game one.
Jesus.
And so he goes, finds Pandora's box, is about to open it. Ares is picks up in his Spidey sense or whatever Ares has got, and realizes that that's happened. Picks up a pillar from the city of Athens, hurls it directly, pinpoint missile to Kratos' position, and kills Kratos, sending Kratos to the underworld.
With a column?
Yeah, because Ares is huge. He's like this massive, tall dude. He's not like the size of a man.
Okay.
Should have clarified with that.
Okay.
Fiery red, like his hair is like fire, his beard's fire. He's an imposing dude.
Okay. Yeah.
And so then Kratos has to fight his way up from the underworld.
Jesus, man.
I know.
Tough thing
Is this
to do.
disc 3?
That's why he's got so much. That's why he's so ripped.
I know. He's just climbing and fighting everywhere he goes. So anyway, he goes on, finally faces down with Kratos, and then is able to open Pandora's box, receive the power from it, and then also because Daddy Zeus is playing favorites, his Ares and Athena are his kids. In case you're not familiar with Greek mythology, listeners out there. He also sides with Athena because Ares is going, he's going a little war hungry, can't be stopped, and so he then gives Kratos some of his power as well. Kratos is able to grow to the same size as Ares, resulting in this massive smackdown.
That's got to be pretty cool.
Ares tries to put up a good fight, revealing that he also has these spider-like spikes that pop out of his back, six tentacle things, and trying to jab at him and all these. He's a badass dude to try to fight. Eventually, Kratos is able to get the other hand, impales Ares in the chest with a sword of, I can't remember what it's called. Zeus gave it to him. It's a gift from the gods kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
We'll call it the lightning
He's able to kill.
sword.
Yeah.
Is able to kill Ares, and then since Ares, the god of war, is now dead, is able to take his place on Mount Olympus as the new god of war.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, "In peace ruled the land."
Yeah, I know.
No, it's always got to be that war.
So who's the villain? Who's the villain in
One thing
this?
we've learned from Fallout is war never changes. But
Never changes.
you could say Kratos is the villain.
I was about to say, it sounds like he's the villain.
He's very much an anti-hero. But anyway.
To be fair, he asked for this.
Our favorite.
He did, but he didn't know he was going to have to kill his family.
Okay, literally all of the Greeks knew.
Another side point is during his final fight with Ares causes Kratos to have a vision of when his wife and family are getting killed, and Ares kills them again in front of Kratos. And it's just to either furthermore piss him off. So Ares is obviously a bad dude. He sets in motion all the events of the God of War game series, and that is why he's my number 3.
All right. That was good. I was getting some lessons here.
Yeah, seriously, I've
Zelda
learned a
God of
lot.
War. Yeah, I know. I
Gotta
need
get that
this.
history.
I need this in my life. All right, my number 2, in good conscience, I could not keep this off my list.
Oh, is it going to be?
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
it is. So, but how can I not have it on the list though?
You
Just
could
in
try.
in good conscience, we have talked about her before, and we've talked about the game plenty of times.
Oh no! You're right. We do. No.
Oh, is this your number
it's
1?
my number 1. We can talk about it now. I know.
Should we switch then and go?
Should I say my number 1 and just reverse it?
If you don't mind giving your number
If
1.
you don't mind, no, I can give my number 1.
Okay.
But my number 1 was number 1 for a reason. So
Okay,
so
so-
it was only for a reason because I really
No, wait. I'm saying, should we change up the order? Should it go back to Mogan, then to me, and then to you? Take a quick pause for the moment with Mogan, and then you two can continue talking about the number 1, or do you guys care?
I just save my number 2 for last.
Okay,
So
let's
technically, it's my number 1, but in conjunction with
So
Zach's
are
number
okay.
2.
So you're moving
Okay.
your number 1
Yeah,
to number 2.
yeah.
Okay.
to be with your number 1. That's not your number 2. That's staying at number 2.
Yes. Did everyone follow that?
Say it together.
GLaDOS. Yeah, there we go. I wrote it down.
Oh,
in my
that's your
little
number
book.
1.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
put
great
it.
number. It's a great number 1. That's a good
GLaDOS
pick.
is
Yeah.
number 1 villain
Yes.
of all time. Of any game.
It's hard not to. I mean, I obviously had to have her on my list. I just didn't want to put her at number 1 because I wanted to keep someone else at number 1. Just because I
Okay.
thought it'd be more interesting to talk about. But yeah, she's. Do you say GLaDOS or GLaDOS?
I say GLaDOS. Some people say
I thought
GLaDOS.
it was GLaDOS because the DOS is capitalized.
because there's a O.
DOS.
I don't know. That's all. That's all
How
I
about you
thought.
shut up?
You know,
Anyways, I
Anywho.
say, but doesn't it stand for like genetic
Ooh, I don't
something?
know.
Oh, hold up.
It does have
Google.
it's
I
an
wrote it
abbreviated
down.
thing.
she's got it. She's got the
I've
notes.
acronym.
I've got the stuff. Got a fancy new blue pen that I can use. Genetic life form and disk operating system.
Oh, okay.
DOS.
There we
Okay.
go.
DOS.
GLaDOS.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not spelled that way. I'm just
just
saying you
saying
don't
I'm-
say it that way.
I'm saying you do say it that way. GLaDOS.
That's actually probably correct. I just want to say GLaDOS.
What is her actual name?
It's like your refusal to say
Okay,
her.
so spoiler
LaCroix.
alert.
Yeah, we're gonna get into-
anyone who has not played either Portal 1 or Portal 2, tune out. Jerrett, you don't
We've given
count.
some Portal spoilers.
We've
before.
given
This isn't
quite
too
a
bad,
few,
though.
but
It's
this
not
is
like a-
it's more like lore than anything.
Yeah, it comes
so,
into play early on in the game.
Technically, GLaDOS was made to be a personality core.
Mm-hmm.
So she is the artificial intelligence system that was made by Cave Johnson to run Aperture Science.
Right, but
And
it's based off of his lover
It's-
/ secretary,
It
right?
is now. So originally, Cave actually made the AI to put himself in it. That's how he was going to cheat death.
Oh, I'm glad
he
we're
was
talking
like,
about this 'cause I
yes,
don't know
I'm
any
going
of
to
this."
put my intelligence into the AI. But then the whole moon rocks
'Cause he
thing
sniffed
happened.
moon
Yeah, he
rocks.
was sniffing moon
Yeah.
rocks, and he was like,
going
as
crazy.
it turns out,
As
you can
turns
get
out,
it.
yeah.
As it
Turns out.
Turns out. It's like, oh man.
great
Turns
line.
out that could kill you.
Yeah.
So
It's like-
now he's got like a terminal illness caused by sniffing moon rocks, and he's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to speed things up more or less. So he's like, I'm not going to live long enough to see the AI completed. There's no way that they're going to be able to put my conscience into the AI because it's not even going to be done. So he basically proclaims Caroline, his
Yes,
assistant.
Caroline. That's right.
Yeah. I always call her Caroline Miller, but I think that might be because I have a student with that name.
Do we know
I'm not
Caroline's
sure.
last
I
name?
don't think
in
she
the
has
game?
one in the
don't
game.
know.
I think
there's,
it's just
there's
Caroline.
images of her in paintings and
Yes.
stuff. We get to see what she looks
That's actually like a secret trophy. Like if
Yeah.
you find the portrait, you get the trophy Portrait of a Lady.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
good
How
tidbit
about
for when
that?
I
How
play
about-
through it.
There you go.
how
You can be
about
looking
them
for it.
apples? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be looking.
So yeah, Caroline, he officially names her his successor. So he's always talking about her. He's like, she's the backbone of Aperture Science. And, she's got like a very peppy, high voice. And she's like, yes, sir, Mr. Johnson. And when he finds out he's really dying, he's like, okay, you're my successor. You're the next CEO of Aperture Science. And she's like, cool. And technically, it's never actually in the game, I don't think. I think they're like Easter eggs you can get that imply it, but there's some unused voice files from the game's making. I think it would actually be Portal 2 from Portal 2's making that heavily imply that Caroline did not want her conscience put into GLaDOS.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you ever heard them?
No.
They're actually kind of horrifying. Like it's very much.
That's the thing about just Portal
Yeah.
in general. There are enough little hidden places
Oh, yeah.
that are very scary to me.
Even though it's not a horror game.
Even though it's not a horror game.
You feel it.
Well,
it's got a darkness in its background.
It has a darkness in its background, and it has like sort of a darkness in what's just generally happening. Even though it's fun and light as you're going through, there are weird like lines that come through that have dark undertones.
Yeah.
There's places that, and like specifically I'm thinking about when you like panel walls that have been moved that you can go into.
Oh yeah, the Rat Man.
The Rat Man, and there's like handprints everywhere, and like where
Yeah.
this someone was here, and like the cake is alive, that whole thing, which is funny.
All of
the cake is alive, the cake is alive. Everyone
that's
uses
the
that as
thing,
funny,
like,
but it's actually very scary.
Portal's humor is fantastic because you're like, huh, and then you
Yeah.
think about it a second longer, and you're like, oh god,
yeah, it's like,
this is
wait.
really dark. This is heavy stuff. So
Right.
it's like, I mean, and obviously Gladys is a murderous artificial
Yes.
intelligence. On day one of her inception, presumably right after Caroline's intelligence was put into Gladys, Gladys goes online, I think in 1998 or something like that, on Bring Your
Dial-up.
Daughter to Work Day. Do you remember from
Is that-
Portal 2?
Okay, no.
When you well, there's a
No,
point
I don't,
in
Mogan.
it's really like midway through in Portal 2 you're going through obviously a level of aperture science and you come across this office that is really just a display of children's science projects. And there's a big banner across the wall that says Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. And they're all potato based projects.
Yeah.
They're
Okay,
all
maybe I do
like
remember
potato
that.
batteries
Well,
and
that's
stuff
when you
like
put
that.
her in a potato at one
That's
point.
later.
Oh, is that
But
later?
this
That's
is
in
like
Portal
the build up
2.
to that.
Yeah, that's been Portal 2 as well.
Yes.
What you're talking about.
no, this is Portal 2.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We're in
So-
Portal 2 right now.
Yes.
Just helping everybody out there.
Gotcha.
Keep clear where we're at.
Yes.
'cause
So it's
I'm
like
lost.
on.
Because I'm not listening.
So something else that
out.
is extra horrible is on Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, they put Gladys online and she's like, okay, everybody, it's time to die. And she floods the entire facility with neurotoxin.
Oh,
God, I don't yeah, see, I was going to ask you. I'm sure you know more.
Everyone, I mean, this is all through voiceover. Like
Okay,
you get
yeah,
all
it's
of
not- You
this
learn all
from
this later.
clues,
Yeah.
observation, and the voiceover that actually happens in game. So she floods the whole facility with neurotoxin, and all of the scientists and presumably all of their children, all of their daughters die. Well,
damn.
So she's like, okay, there you go.
Does she have a motive? What is her motive?
She's pissed off because she didn't want to be AI inside
No,
the
there is.
machine.
She like didn't she? Is she pissed about Cave? Is there like
I don't think so.
what is her like?
I feel like it was always one of those things of like her realizing humans aren't fit to run the facility or something
more
like
about
that.
science. And
Yeah,
it's
maybe
just like
that was
they're
just my
used
impression.
for-
But I always
'Cause that's
felt
what
like,
it is. You're a lab
Yeah.
rat. You know,
Yeah,
you're
you're a
just
lab rat.
testing stuff out.
yeah,
for
you
science
as
sake.
Chell, you're just her tool to do
Right,
testing.
Right. And the
Yeah.
cake that comes in, at least in the first one, is that comes in towards the later levels, doesn't
It
it? And
does.
it's like, hey, you finish this one, you get a cake.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like really moist, and she talks about how delicious it is. And she's like,
chocolate?
make sure you come. Well, I don't know what kind of cake it is.
You don't get to find
There's
out?
an image at the very end, which at the end of which is the
Oh,
best
yeah,
credits
yeah.
in any
Oh,
game.
it's hilarious.
It's like the best credits. And also, again, that undertone of darkness that happens is the camera's like kind of slowly spiraling down towards the depths of aperture science, and it's
Yeah.
getting lower and lower, and there's like a little light down there, and you get down there, it's got all like the love companion cubes or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's the cake and that song she's singing, and then like the candle like blows out at the end, and it's like there's just
my God,
enough darkness
yeah.
in the game, and so that's why I
need
want to
really
talk
play this game.
is because of GLaDOS that she is the fuel of the entire
is.
tone of the
I
game.
mean, her entire first of all, she's voiced by opera singer / voice actress Ellen McLean.
Okay.
I knew she had done other stuff, but I actually didn't know she was an opera singer before this. So it's like she's a badass, and
Yeah.
she's a badass older lady, just like Anna Amari,
There you
Overwatch.
go.
our
There you
favorite
go.
sniper support.
I do like her a lot. But that's,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
That's another time for
But
another
yeah,
time.
so she's the voice of GLaDOS, and talk
But it's
about the
delivery's perfect, but the lines are great too. Like I got to give so much credit to the
They
writing
are
for
the
the
greatest.
character.
That whole game is full of the best one-liners.
It is.
of any game.
And I just never played a
the
game
writing is spot
like
on.
that. And there's but what happens with her, and I'm not going to remember specifics of how it gets to this point, but you get empathy or at least sympathy for her character at some point.
Yeah.
And that's what makes her, I thought, a really interesting villain is at points you get that she's evil and she's kind of luring you. You start to understand that, but you almost want to keep hanging out and like
Yeah.
understanding more about her. You're not like upset about it. You're more you're almost laughing with her at
It's
points.
like a frenemies kind of
It
thing.
is.
Like,
It's like-
you're my enemy, but
Yeah, but you're really entertaining, and you're actually really enticing me to come.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah,
the
it's
game
like-
does it what she's trying to do to the character in the game. Shell,
absolutely. That's
So-
why in Portal 2, when she becomes like your semi-companion,
Right.
she still hates you.
Yeah.
She's still lobbing
Is that what she's
insults
calling
at
you fat?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
always trying to say that you're fat.
Yeah.
She's like, for being in cryo sleep for 500 years, you've somehow managed to pack on a few pounds. And it's like,
That's right. Hey.
she's like, I can
Yeah.
see the brain damage is set in. I'm like, oh my god.
But then Wheatley, I mean, that's just an honorable mention. I just wanted to say.
I was
but
really
Wheatley,
torn about doing Wheatley
because
instead.
he becomes.
But in my head, he's Wheatley. Like,
Yeah.
I can't hate Wheatley, but Gladys,
But he
it's
does
like, oh
become-
man, like he
Right.
becomes the next Gladys.
Yeah.
Because he's eventually placed into where that AI is coming from.
Yeah.
So he kind of absorbs all of the crazy, which is saying something that even detached from the AI, Gladys was still just as mean.
Yeah, it
She
was,
did not lose any of that edge by being detached from the central core.
Yeah.
That did not affect her. So
I really want to replay the second one. I remember the
do
first
it.
one so much more than the second one.
the second one
The
has,
second one's a lot denser. There's a lot more
Yeah.
going on.
How long are these games?
you
First
can
one's
play
quick.
port-
In a
yeah,
day,
no, they're
man, I'm telling you,
fast.
2 days.
2 days.
Really,
days.
a long weekend.
Yeah,
Take a
long
long
weekend.
Long we get to
It's
play
just-
both or
it's-
just
it's-
one?
One. It's
one at a time.
19
Yeah.
puzzles, I think. There's 19 levels.
Is
in
that the
Portal.
first game?
Yeah.
Because in the second game, there's like
Well, in the second one, it's just like you're going through different. You really go outside.
Yeah,
the
you
maps
go all
or
kinds of
whatever.
places.
Yeah,
It's
the first
awesome.
one's pretty contained except for the last couple parts.
I love it when you actually descend into the depths of old aperture. Like you get down
yeah,
to the
yeah.
very, very bottom, and it's like all of the stuff from like the 40s and 50s, and you're like, oh man. And that's when the Cave Johnson recordings start because they're from that time, and you're like, this crazy moon rock sniffing bastard.
J.K.
This
Simmons.
is all his fault. So Gladys,
Yes, all right. Well,
Number
good.
one.
That's your number one. That's when I'm my number two.
Nice. I do really need to play these games because, like, I thought at first, the first time I ever heard about it, I thought it was just a puzzle based game, and I was kind of like, well,
I mean, at the end of the day, it kind
I
of
like
is.
puzzle based games, but I have to be in the right mood to play it. I kind of like puzzle based games, and I have to be in the right mood, especially to play one. And I know at the end of the day, that's what it is. But this one sounds like it has so much more depth to it. So
does.
I
It
need
does.
to give it. I need to give it.
and
a
what
go.
I like about it is that it doesn't force feed you the information.
Yeah.
Like you're really left to insinuate a lot of it. It's
Right.
like implied information. So there are certain things you can make of it what you will.
Cool.
Which I love. I don't like being told what to do.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Jerrett, what's your number 2?
thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome.
What's your number 5, Jerrett?
What's your number 5?
So no, mine. Oh, I almost said number 5. My number 2 comes from my number 1 game.
Whoa! Wow!
I think we all know what it is.
Clickers.
Okay, it's actually not the clickers. It is from The Last of Us. So
That's all I know.
Is it the demons in your own heart?
possibly?
Yeah.
No,
Is it
it's
the
not.
decisions you must make?
So I'll give a little bit of intro to this. Not much, but so Last of Us. You come across, in this post-apocalyptic world that you're in, you come across lots of different characters, and some good, some bad. But as in most cases with these post-apocalyptic worlds, you don't know which is which. There's always more than meets the eye, unless it's normally like a good friend of a person that you're with in your party. You can be like, this guy knows this guy, he can vouch, we're cool. But,
Friend of a friend.
Random travelers,
good guy.
you don't know what's going to come across. And this is where this villain comes into play. He's David. David comes in the second half, late second half of the game. Joel has been injured. It's wintertime. Ellie is out having to forage for herself. This is the first time you actually get to play as Ellie
I remember that.
during the game. And so Ellie is out hunting a deer. She kills the deer and then is come upon by 2 guys, one of which is David. And he is chill. They talk. She, they try to he's just wanted to get some food from the deer that she shot because he's like, you're a little girl, you can't eat this whole thing. Can I have some?
Bitch, watch me.
And she says, and they try to trade. She says she needs medicine. She doesn't say who for, but she just says she needs some medicine. So he sends his guy off to go get the medicine. Ellie makes him give her his gun, and they just chat and they just talk, and then they're like having this those somewhat standoffish, just nice chat. The infected come. They have to fight off all the infected, and still David reveals he had a pistol that he could have used on you, but he didn't. And so he has to, and you fight off all the infected. And then when you're sitting there, and this is this one scene that just like sticks out in my mind. Now the thing about David is, he's a middle-aged dude, but he just sounds gentle. His voice is gentle. Nolan North, who's the voice actor for him, did a fantastic job because it's kind of it's like a almost raspy, but just kind of like a high pitch. Is very much, I'm going to try to do an impression of it to give it because it helps set the mindset of the character where he's just like, he just says to her, it's like when he's talking like the deer, he's just like, I notice you have this deer and we can't, could you have some of it? We have a lot of people who are hungry. It's just very like seems calm, collected individual.
Very NPR.
Yeah.
But suspicious.
But somewhat suspicious. You don't know what to trust
NPR
him.
is pretty suspicious.
You're too calm for these times, man.
Well, and so throughout the course of the game, you will run into this group of smugglers, bandits, as you were. And you have to fight them at various points in the game. And so, anyway, you fight off the infected with David. And you're sitting there, back waiting for the guy to come back. And he's just like, this crazy, this world we live in, all this other stuff. And she just says, and Ellie's, still standoffish. And David turns to her and tells her, she's just like, no, it's cool. I think everything happens for a reason. And she's like, well, how do you figure? And she's like, well, it's the craziest thing. We've been a community trying to make a place for ourselves and, live and survive as best as we can. And I had this group of men that I sent off into this town to go get some supplies. And they lost a few, and they came back when they came back. And the crazy thing is they said they were killed by this crazy man who was accompanied by a little girl. And you're just like, oh, shit, this is bad.
Uh-oh.
Man.
And then
Goosebumps.
Yeah. And so then you realize the other guy came back, and he's got a gun pointed at Ellie, but David lets her go, takes the medicine and lets her go. And of course, Ellie's obviously freaked out. She wakes up the next morning, and David and his men are searching for him in the town that they've been taking refuge in. Joel is incapacitated, can't help out at all, so Ellie has to try to lead them away from her. She winds up getting captured by David, knocked out, wakes up in a cell in his encampment, where she wakes to discover one of his men chopping up a human body for later consumption. So you find out now that David is also a cannibal.
Aren't the best villains? Come on.
So obviously, he's kind of like, I'm keeping you until it, fits my purpose to need to eat you or something, or to, or until helps him find Joel so that he can kill Joel and get revenge on all the men that Joel's killed. Long story short, Joel wakes up and is able to come looking for Ellie. And Ellie is able to escape, and this whole cat and mouse happens where you're trying to escape in this snowstorm from David's encampment. David's chasing you, his men are chasing you, and it switches in between Joel and Ellie at this point in the game. And you get locked into this big hunting lodge with David as Ellie, and he's chasing you around. The lodge gets set on fire, and it's slowly starting to burn, which then slowly traps you as to where you can go. And eventually, it comes to a head. You both are there, and you fight. I can't remember the exact circumstances of how it goes down, but in one of the more iconic scenes of the game. Spoiler alert for anyone, so I'll give you a few seconds. Ellie then is able to wrestle David's machete away from him and proceeds to hack the living shit out of him.
Nice.
Really?
Yes.
Go,
Isn't she
Ellie.
14?
Yeah, she's
Hey,
a teenager.
Link does this all the time.
The game gets dark.
You got to do what you got to do. I get it.
You got to do
I
what
get
you
it.
got to do.
You got to survive.
Ellie's been lifting, getting swole.
But yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
But it's
Can't be
like
that
this
hard.
big thing
It's
where
gotta be hard to hack somebody up.
Joel finds her right as she's delivering the killing blows, and she does it and then breaks down and cries, and it's like a
Wow.
huge it's also in a weird way
Emotional.
a bonding moment for Joel and Ellie.
Now we're both murderers. Yay!
Well, it's this whole big thing. It's just Ellie is questioning David at this one point, and she's just he's like, you killed a lot of my men, and she's like, we didn't have a choice. And he says, do you think they had a choice? They were just trying to get supplies to live. They just saw someone as an obstacle, and so it's this weird parallel. Obviously you're more in Joel and Ellie's camp because you're their character, but then you can also see his point at the same end.
Yeah.
Granted, he's taking a step further.
But that's what the
in
whole
eating
game's
people.
about, really, is these dilemmas and these
And the relationship at its core, the relationship between Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, yeah.
So David sticks out and is my number 2 because of how you at first think he's going to be a friend, there is that betrayal, which was an excellently written twist into the game, and then just how for a person who was so seemingly peaceful and agreeable turned out to be just this really dark individual. And because by the time when he's hunting down Ellie in that lodge, he's crazy. Like he kind of has that snapping point, and he just kind of goes nuts. So it's a very terrifying sequence of the game, very very difficult, and then the climax of how it all resolves is.
Are they going to make a sequel to this game?
It's being talked about.
Or should they? What's your opinion?
It's being tossed around. It has no official word has come out of Naughty Dog.
What would you
yet.
like to happen? Do you think it should be left on its own merit?
I personally think it should.
Yeah.
Now, if they announce a Last of Us 2, does that mean I'm not going to play it?
Not get excited about it?
Absolutely not. I'll still play it. But I think this is one of those instances. The game definitely stands on its own.
Let it be.
And so, so we'll see what eventually comes of it. But no, David is my number 2.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. Learning more about Last of Us.
It's a good one. Like,
I know.
I hope you have the chance to play it at some point.
I do too.
If I haven't ruined it by giving away all the spoilers. No. Because it's a different. Like I was rewatching.
I don't think spoilers are that big a deal.
It's like they are for me.
Well, it's like when you're playing, I still get emotional impact.
Too.
I feel like.
I mean, I've played the same game 1,000 times, and every time I'm like,
I know what's going to happen.
I've rewatched footage of it. I rewatched footage of David and everything in preparation for this. I was like, ooh, damn,
yeah,
he's
you'll
a bad
still
guy.
get the impact. But I get it.
Yeah. So we've come to the end of our number 2s, and it's time to take a quick detour to the moment with Mogan.
Yeah, Madoo.
All right, that was enough of a pause. I really don't have that much today. So really, the big news that we kind of talked about earlier and may or may not make it into the final cut. I don't really know what these guys do when I'm not here. The big Overwatch update. So they are doing a special limited edition thing with Overwatch where it's going to have all of these Olympic-themed stuff for the Rio Games.
And this started a week ago by the time of this release.
Yes. So it would have started August 3rd. 2nd. There we go. August 2nd. Yeah. So the primary thing for me that I care about is there's going to be all of these new Rio-themed loot boxes. So every new loot box that you get will have a combination of both regular stuff and these special limited edition Olympic things. I think that you cannot use your credits to purchase them. So you kind of just have, it's luck of the draw.
I went and looked in like the list of skins and stuff, and the new skins are not available.
Yeah, so you just have to basically hope for the best. Get a bunch of loot boxes, hope for the best. There's also going to be a new brawl, which is themed as Lucio Ball. The Lucio Ball Brawl, if you will. Everyone's Lucio. And so you play the whole game. It almost reminded me of a fusion between regular soccer and Rocket League.
It's pretty much Rocket League.
Yeah, it looked like Rocket League when I was looking at it.
It's pretty awesome.
So Lucio, of course, for those of you who aren't a Lucio, or maybe don't look at him that much, but how could you not? He's so adorable. He's pretty cool. He has this basically sound gun that he uses to either play healing music or speed music, and he can also do like the boop. So he can do this little death music.
Yes.
So you can do this little boop sound wave and blast people off over the edge.
So
it's the best death you can get. As a Lucio, you're like, yes. Nothing is better than booping someone to death. They're always so mad about it.
I like all the videos of people booping into the well on Ilios.
I love it. I do that all the time.
Roadhog does
I'm such a well stalker. I'm like, yes, come to me.
Yeah, he can go up the well, can he?
If he falls in.
That's pretty cool.
I've never made it back out.
Yeah.
I've seen it done.
Other people can do it. I can't. But so Lucio Ball is basically going to be like soccer, where you're able to use your gun to boop the ball into the goal, or you could actually, I think, hold it. You can pull it towards you by using his ult, which usually defends people, puts them.
Which I didn't figure that out until like the third round.
Yeah, but in this case, you pull the ball towards you with your ult, and of course, the entire thing is like a rounded circle, so you can wall slide all over the place. It looks amazing. I cannot wait to do it. The entire event, and Jerrett was asking about this earlier, is going to last through August 22nd.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we've got because it's meant to be with the Olympics, so they have to let it go for a little while the games are going on. So we have plenty of time to get a bunch of gear. By the time we've gotten all the loot boxes, we're all going to be triple prestige. So let's do it. It's going to be great. Oh, have you really? The most I've gotten is a double prestige.
I've only seen a single.
He had 3 stars.
I've only seen
level 300.
It doesn't mean he's good. It just means that he
played. It just means that he played a lot.
Right. Doesn't mean you're not good.
But okay, so that's really all for just regular news. The other
hopefully
thing,
hopefully Lucio Ball will not be hit with health hazards such as Zika virus and dirty swimming water.
let's
Hopefully,
hope not.
hopefully they keep that arena clean.
Yeah, Lucio stays firmly on land.
But he's an audio medic, so
Audio medic. Yeah, that's how they should
Heal
fight
up.
Zika. Heal up. That's right. So out now, I actually am super ashamed. I missed this last time, so this is kind of circling back. Out now for PS4 and Steam as of August 2nd, Abzu. A-B.
Okay, I've seen a little bit of this.
Z-U. Abzu is from the artistic minds behind Journey. And you can very much see it. Like, if you're looking at stills of Abzu, you're like, well, shit, that's Journey, but underwater.
It's Journey 2.
It's Journey
Journey
2.
Just call it what it is.
But it's from a different game company. I think it was Plastic Games that made Abzu. So they basically, it's like an it's underwater journey. So you are this little character that goes diving and you're basically exploring these underwater depths, and there's like all of these ruins of an ancient civilization. It's like Discovery and stuff, and there's whales and fish and like turtles and crap, and I'm like, that looks like everything I've ever wanted at a game. So I am super excited to eventually get it. I think it's only $19.99.
Wow.
So if you buy it through the
only for
PlayStation
PlayStation
Store,
though, right?
Currently it's only for PS4 and
I'm
Steam.
gonna turn my mind
So
off. For
yeah, you might as well gracefully bow out.
And this one
Hurricane.
is similar to Bound, which is made by the people who made Journey. That game company,
Bound
correct?
is it's not. Oh wait, maybe I have my
thought one
information.
of-
No, I have my information wrong. Abzu was not made by. It was not made by Plastic Games. Bound is. Bound
I'm gonna
PS4
do
is the one
Google
that's made by
double check.
Plastic. Journey was made by that game company.
Okay.
They are not plastic to gold doubloons.
Plastic.
Good plug. And the
SpongeBob.
doubloons fit very good with Abzu's theme, underwater. SpongeBob. So I'm pretty sure that they were not made by the same people,
Okay.
but they were both developed by Santa Monica. Or
Yes, published by Santa Monica.
Published by
Okay,
Santa
that's-
Monica
okay,
Studios.
so that is the
That's
tie.
the connector.
Got it.
So Abzu pulls together the artistic factor. So they're all kind of interconnected in a way. In addition, by the time this airs, No Man's Sky will officially be out.
Today.
Yeah.
Whoa.
As you're listening to this.
As you're listening to this, August
depressing for
9th,
me.
the landscape of gaming has officially changed.
Oh my God.
Let's hope so. So
true, it's
it is, of course, for PS4. As far as I can tell, it's not currently going to be for Microsoft.
Probably not, since it's being published by Sony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's their baby.
Yep.
And then coming soon, we do have Inside to the PS4. So that one used to be an Xbox exclusive. Thank God they changed their minds. August 24th, Inside is coming to the PS4. I am absolutely going to get it. I cannot wait. Also for PS4, Bound, of course, August 16th. And then, this one's kind of a womp-womp, Metroid Prime Federation Force, coming out for the 3DS August 19th.
Oh, for 3DS. Is this
Don't let
going to
the
be another
Metroid-
other M for
Don't
you?
let the Prime confuse you. This is not a real game. It's like a game of mini games. It's not. I don't know what the crap they're making.
Boo.
So that's a big ooh. Not
my
gonna play
catnip?
that one.
No.
And that's all I had for today.
Nice.
Where's the head for that one?
Which one?
Am I just?
That is his head. It's
Yeah.
just really small.
Oh,
Yeah,
he has a big body.
Yeah, he's like
Oh.
covered in his robes. Can't see his head.
What kind of animal is
It's a
it?
Tusken Raider.
Oh,
Know your Star Wars, man. Know your Star Wars. All right, so Zach.
am I bringing this home? No, I'm
Well,
not.
you're not bringing. I'm bringing us home today.
starting the journey.
But you're
home.
starting the journey
Okay,
home.
Okay.
Nicely.
Okay.
No, I like
It's
that.
the journey home.
With your number one.
Yeah,
Okay,
Let's
all
pick
right.
it up here.
So like you said, your number two came from your number one.
Yes.
My number one comes from my number one.
Of course.
We're gonna have to rename this podcast Zelda, The Last of Us, and Halo.
We will talk about all three of these games at some point every episode. Hope you like it. That's we sure do.
We love talking about it. That's not true.
This isn't for you anymore. It's for us.
It's always been for us.
true.
We haven't talked about. You haven't talked about Last of Us in a while.
No, I mean I haven't.
It's hard to remember. There's so many.
There are so many things
we're
about it
get-
because, like David, I forgot until I was
Yeah.
like really hardcore having to think about the villains.
Right.
And I was like, "Oh shit, David! Like
You know,
he's good. Like that's a
if
good
nothing
villain."
else, A Last of Us 2 would give us more content.
That's true.
So if they could go on ahead and
go.
come
That's
out,
true.
I've got endless supplies of LOZ if I'm willing to wait.
Yeah, I can talk
And
about.
I
Halo
would,
for days.
I would just like do a live Let's Play of.
Yeah.
Of oh my god.
Ooh, do it. I was thinking about doing Abzu.
You should
might-
Twitch Halo.
I should.
I could do that.
I should Twitch
Why
Halo
not me?
since I play.
Do you have it?
Dude, no, I don't have an Xbox.
Yeah,
What are they going to put
Yeah, I
on
was like, wait a
PS4?
minute.
Yeah.
You should Twitch it. I'll watch you play Halo 1.
All right. I'm only like the second mission in, so that'd be really easy.
That's great. That's exciting.
Easy to pick up. I need to
By the
hook
way,
up
in
Twitch with
case
my
anybody
kid- with
doesn't
my
know,
Xbox.
Jerrett and I do quite a bit of twitching.
he does too.
streaming that.
I've twitched.
Yeah, this is Project Solus.
Yes,
Twatched.
that was the last
Is
thing
that-
I
You can do
did.
some Overwatch every once in a while too.
Yeah, because then I'll be playing Project Solus or whatever it's called, and then I'll go play
Switch
I
Overwatch.
think I was watching you play Project Solus, and whoever you were talking to, I couldn't hear them, but you were doing freeze, don't move. You were talking about me
that's so
while
funny.
playing Project Solus, and I was
so-
like, this guy.
So since we brought it up, we normally tweet about when we go on, which we don't do it often. But if you should, I mean, Mogan's been doing it a lot.
You
I've
tweet-
been
yeah.
doing
I
it.
just don't tweet.
I've done it a couple much. Yeah,
just
a little bit. You can set it to be automatic. And like,
Yeah.
set
Oh,
a
when I
tweet.
do Twitch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can. It's under
Yeah.
settings,
So,
bro.
what is your username on Twitch?
Termy Terms.
Termy
which
Terms.
is TERMYTERMZ.
And
My name is not Morgan.
I'm just Jerrett Wilson. Boring as hell. JERRETTWILSON. I tried to change it the other day to my gamer tag, Dogtown Warrior, and they were like, "No, you can't do that." Damn it! So for
There's
now,
another Dogtown Warrior.
no, there wasn't. They just don't let you change your
Oh, yeah,
username.
no, it doesn't. You can, like, change
I
the
will probably actually.
capitalization.
Now that I'm saying this, I probably will go make a new account just with my another email so that I can still maintain the
bad,
Dogtown
not
Warrior brand.
Yeah. That's you, man. That's you.
All right, but anyway,
Okay,
getting
okay,
back
okay.
to it.
Okay, now I feel like I've talked about this character in maybe memorable characters. Do you guys remember my top 3?
I think so.
Something Sparky?
So I talked about him in
343
memorable characters.
343 Guilty Spark.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
Sparky, good
Yeah,
old
Sparky. That's a good nickname. I'll take it. Well, I don't really remember what I talked about in memorable characters, so I'm going to talk about him again.
We'll do a rehash.
We'll do a rehash of.
It's okay. That was
343. Sorry, I couldn't remember.
That was probably close to 20 episodes ago.
Wow.
I'm gonna look while you're talking.
man.
I'm gonna look.
Yeah, let's see. Just play that one. Just actually, I won't say anything. And just edit in that whatever I said.
Just loop it in.
I'm probably like really low. I was low for a couple episodes. Anyways, 343 Guilty Spark. Now you remind me, Jerrett. You have
I know who he is because I have played Halo 3.
okay, but you haven't done the campaign for 1 and 2.
Correct.
Okay, so
I looked him up and remember thinking, well, that's Wheatley. So
It is Wheatley. I think we had a back and forth about this probably. He does look like Wheatley. Yeah, he's this. He's a monitor of one of the Halo rings. I think installation 004. And I think I was wrong when I said it the other time. It's 004, 005, one of them. But there's, I want to say, 7 installation rings that float out in the galaxies of Halo. They each have monitors, and he's one of them. And he happens to be the monitor of the Halo ring that you land on in like the second level, which you just done, Jerrett.
Yes.
I don't want to give too much away, man, because there's so you probably know already.
I probably have heard to
Close
some
your
degree,
ears.
so it's
Right.
okay.
step out,
It's okay.
step out of the room.
And the reason I chose him as my number 1 is obviously my love for Halo. It makes it easy, but also because it's kind of ambiguous whether or not he's a villain. It's a. Oh, you're gonna find it.
I found it.
Oh, very nice.
Episode 15. So 19 episodes ago.
Okay, I think that's
fine.
That's
man.
fine.
You're fine.
If it was
You're
18,
fine.
that we would have had to
It's-
figure out something
I
else.
allow it.
Okay, Jerrett, the decree. But what's fascinating about him is where his allegiance lies is sort of what makes him a villain, and his allegiance to the Forerunners and the ring that he is guarding, but also just monitoring. Like he has to take care of it, and he's like the caretaker.
He's
of
the
ring.
Gladys of his ring.
In a way, it's like he kind of oversees it. And he's a little ball that like floats around, and he's got this voice, and there's some backstory that I don't know about, that he used to be a Forerunner and he got put in this ball. Like I don't know anything about that. Everything I know about Halo is just from the games. I think that comes from some backstory that I'm not familiar with. But
Like one of the novels or something.
yeah, or something like that.
Books are for chumps.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But anyways, he basically saves you one of the first times that you see him. Or not say, he gets you out of a sticky situation, if I'm remembering correctly. He takes you to this place. He's like, hey, you're the reclaimer. You need to help me, and I'm going to help you too. And it's all very ambiguous.
So he definitely hasn't like saved Master Chief out of the goodness of his heart.
That's the thing. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's just what's interesting about him, and you learn about bits and pieces about what's really happening. And for a while, you're on his side, and he's helping you, and you're helping him. You have like a mutual sort of advantage for being each other's friends and going through. I think that like the library specifically is when you're following him, and he's taking you to this room to get the index, and then you're going to use that to activate one of the rings. He's like, hey. The flood spread, this other alien race that will just consume everything. We got to get rid of it, and I can show you how. Come, and I think I'm I hope I'm not like mushing that up. I'm pretty sure that's something his motivation. And there gets to a point where you are like doing everything for him, and you're putting the index in the activation slot, which is like the key to turn the ring on, and then you realize that's a big revelation in Halo 1. It's like, whoa, these rings are not just here. They're not just like for life and for hanging out on. They're weapons. They're not
have a little picnic up on the hills.
Yeah,
that's not what it's about.
They're not just like for fun. They are weapons, and you're like about to turn the key, and Cortana basically comes in. It's a great moment, and like Chief is between Cortana and 343, and she's like, "That's like he's tricked you this whole time," and he's like aloof. He's like, "Well, of course, it's like I had to get you here. What do you mean?" And that's his whole persona and his whole sort of alliance to just what he thinks is right. In a weird way, is right. That's the thing. You probably should activate the ring if you want to get rid of the flood, and because the flood's going to kill everybody. But the ring's just the other option of you kill everybody anyways.
The lesser
but you
of two
get
evil.
Right, you get rid of the flood too, right? So there's so much back and forth of who, if like we can really trust him, and if he is for the greater good, who's really for the greater good? And it gets really kind of ambiguous. And I put him as a villain mainly because he in Halo 3, this is a spoiler, but come on, he kills Sergeant
Halo
Johnson.
3's been out since 2009.
Yeah.
I think we're okay.
I think it's fine. But he kills Sergeant Johnson, who's
spoiler alert, man. I was
gonna play. Who is your main dude?
He's been with you since Halo 1.
Since Halo 1,
Your
and
bro.
he's a badass. He is your bro. And basically what's happening in Halo 3 is you were trying to activate this ring that's unfinished, but the Flood have gotten on it, and you're going to activate it, and that's the Monitor's new ring since you blew up the old one. And so like he's
Thanks
like,
a lot,
and so
Master
he's like,
Chief.
no, I can't let you. It's my ring. He like screams this, and he turns red from his yeah, exactly. It's like a Lord of the Rings type moment. He's like, no, you can't, and like he totally flips out. Zaps Sergeant Johnson with his beam that you didn't even like. And what's great about in Halo,
didn't even know he really had.
right? Well, here's in Halo 3. I actually just replayed a couple campaign missions. There's a couple moments. There's one moment of great foreshadowing where he's opening a door with this beam that he has. He never seen before, and a soldier, not like anyone specific, just a random soldier, like goes to attach and he gets zapped. He's like, oh, that guy just like that little fucker just zapped me, and he's like, you were in my way, and you're like. Like that's like the whole thing.
That's a villain.
Like that was the little nugget of oh my gosh, this guy is what he's capable of.
We should have been paying more attention.
Yes, I know. And so again, with where his allegiance lies and what you're trying to do, there's sometimes you're helping each other, and then when it gets to like critical mass, you realize it's been sort of you've been played the whole time, but you also still get his point of view. So that's what makes him super fascinating, and his just personality, which isn't too dissimilar to GLaDOS. He's funny, he's witty, and he's aloof.
Can't trust those funny, witty people.
And yeah, it's like the library, for example, when he's taking you through, he doesn't even like bother to see if you're okay. You're like fighting off a zillion flood babies, and they're flood babies, as I call them, poppers. And he's like going to the next door, and he's like talking to himself and humming and having a good time. So you don't, especially like the first time you go through what you're going to do, you're like, oh, it seems fine.
Yeah.
But you do get weird moments of like, how come he's not helping me in any way? You start to feel like a tool, which is really what you are. Not like a meathead tool, like like an actual tool.
An actual apparatus.
You are the reclaimer. Welcome, reclaimer. But yeah, so he was one of my favorite villains in Halo, and when he comes in, it's such a great moment of here is another layer to the game. And it's very near where the Flood comes in, which added even another layer. It's just the way they're able to, the timing that they hit these new characters and these new species on you is like perfect. It totally changes what the game's about. It totally changes the tone of the game. I'm sure I've talked about that before.
Yeah, what's
Nice.
what's the symbol? Chop chop something?
What is
We were
it?
trying to do hand symbols for, hey, shut the fuck up.
All right, you've talked about Halo enough. You got to click the can.
You're
Click
done.
the can.
You're done.
Oh, right.
You're done,
That would have
kid.
been a good one.
Yeah,
We should have
click
thought
the
of that
can.
sooner.
But yeah, 343. He's number
Anyways,
one
it's
villain.
probably good that you may have talked more because my second is almost kind of a soft second.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I did Ganon because I kind of had to.
Right.
Number 2 is really one of the most iconic RPG villains. And when I say RPG, I mean JRPG
Okay,
villains.
I'm not going to know. Damn it. I was going to try to guess.
No.
Not the same. So, no, go
no.
on ahead and guess. JRPGs. I'll even give you an extra hint. It's from Final Fantasy.
I
Don't know.
don't know.
Never played Final
You guys
Fantasy.
suck.
Sorry.
All right, so it's at least from the most well-known Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy VII. So you
Okay.
could very easily argue that FF7 is the most well-known of all the games, and obviously they are remaking it.
I've heard of it talked about a lot.
Interesting.
I saw the movie. They did a real movie about it, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I saw this in theaters.
Oh.
I went and paid money to see it in theaters, and I was so glad I did. And then
Bully for
I
you.
bought the DVD.
It's a movie
I still own the DVD.
of them
It's a
making the game,
a
or it's
real-
like a
see
Final
that?
Fantasy movie.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Final Fantasy movie? That's
Oh
about to
my
come out?
god! It's
It looks good.
Oh man!
Like I was like,
the one
I'll,
that they're
I'll watch
making in
that.
conjunction with 15.
Heavens,
15 is coming out soon.
September.
Yeah. It
Heavens.
has
What is it? What's doing? Heaven's Glaive, Haven.
something.
Like
I
dinosaurs
don't know.
and cars.
They're all wild. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
they
it
are.
look-
Yeah, you're not
It,
wrong.
it looks
You're not
crazy, but
wrong.
I saw the trailer for it and I was like, that looks badass.
So if you don't know anything about Final Fantasy, you probably still know they're crazy. The stories of
Yes.
every single Final Fantasy game are as over the top as you can possibly get. Like, you think Metal Gear's over the top.
Which
you don't
it
even
is.
know.
Which
You
it
don't
is.
even know how over the top you can get until you've played a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
And then you're on disc 3 and you're like, oh my God, we have gone too far. We need to scale it back. So, Final Fantasy VII, maybe you even know this scene? I would think so. And if not, you're bad video game fans, man. There's the scene in Disc 1 of Final
Take
Fantasy
offense to that.
VII where the primary villain, the most well-known villain of all of Final Fantasy, Sephiroth,
Heard the name.
okay, you've heard the name. He comes in out of nowhere and
Remain
he basically, so you've got, you're Cloud, right? You're this derpy guy with dumb hair.
Derp-a-derp.
And derp. You're just
Derping
derping around.
around.
And you've kind of like got like 2 pseudo girlfriends. One of them is Tifa.
Cool.
Tifa
Well
Lockhart.
done, sir.
Well
Well
done.
done.
Yeah, I like
Wow.
this guy.
Well, Cloud is such a dud. Eventually, all the women in his life are going to be like, we can do better than this. So we go,
But he's living in the moment.
he's
and that,
living
and
in
the
the
moment
moment.
is good.
Yeah,
he's
come on,
so
give him a break.
angsty. He's so emo. I hate Cloud. So he's got
listening
like
to a little bit of
Tifa,
Dashboard
who
Confessional.
he's known for. Yeah, Dashboard Confessional. He's known Tifa for all his life or something like that.
Okay.
And then this new woman comes in, and sure, it depends on how you're pronouncing it. I've always called her Eris. Aeris. Some people call her Aerith with a TH. I think that
odd.
sounds stupid. So I say Eris. And I think in the translation they originally did, it was Eris in writing. But anyways, that's beside the point. So Eris, oh, he didn't look like that in the
Badass.
first game. That's not even his real sword. There it is. There's the
Well, you can
Buster
be him
sword.
in Final Fantasy or in
Yes, you can.
in
Yeah, you
Smash
can.
Bros, right?
Yeah,
He's in
you can be.
Smash
So
Bros.
Cloud is also in Smash now, and then of course he was in all of the
Looks like
Kingdom
a
Hearts
woman.
games. Yeah, that's about what he
little
looks
effeminate.
like. Yeah, that's why Tifa's like, I'm moving on. So, anyways, your pseudo girlfriend Eris. Oh,
I don't
that's
think
lightning!
I don't think
What a
that's-
badass. So, anyways, Eris, she comes in and she's like, I'm a healer, peace and whatever, love, friendship. And you're like, yeah, that's all pretty cool, I guess. And then, like, at the very end of disc 1, the big bad, Sephiroth, literally jumps in out of nowhere as she's literally praying.
Oh, I've seen this scene.
Stabs her through the back with his giant sword, comes out through her heart, and she's like, and then of
I would
course,
hope.
boom, immediate death. And like Cloud is like looking at her from across a lake or something, and he's like, no. So of course he freaks out. He like charges forward, tries to get Sephiroth, but of course he's gone because he's the badass. And you've got 2 more discs to go before you're done with the game. So he escapes, and that's kind of the whole catalyst for you chasing him down. Now, there was stuff before this that is actually way more interesting to his characterization. You could argue that the true villain, well, it's not even an argument. The true villain of Final Fantasy VII is actually this alien creature called Genova. So, way back before the game technically started, actually like thousands of years before the game started, or at least hundreds, this meteor crashed into their planet. And it carried with it this basically alien monster called Genova. And Genova wiped out whatever race was dominant on the planet at that time and then kind of went dormant because it had nothing else to kill. Flash forward, humanity's risen up in place of these past creatures, which you later find out Eris is actually descended of blah, blah, blah. So, flash forward.
Some backstory.
Everybody knows that. So, flash forward to semi-present days, this company, the man, corporations, Shinra Corporation, boo! Industrialization, Shinra Corp has basically discovered what Genova is, kind of. They sort of know that there's this alien creature on their planet, and it does something, but they're not really sure. So they go to the crater, they find the remains of Genova, and take it back to their lab. And they put her, it's kind of like a her, in this big glass container, and her design is wild. Did you look that up?
No.
Genova? Do it. Her design is crazy. She's kind of got like almost hair, but she's almost like not even a whole humanoid. She's got like random parts missing. She wears this big metal thing covering her eyes and head, and she's got tubes all over the place. She's a monster. She's a legit monster. And they used her cells, they basically extracted some of her genetic material to do experiments and injected them into an unborn fetus that became Sephiroth. So Sephiroth is born, he has these Genova cells within him, and as a result, he's kind of a superhuman. You know, he looks otherworldly. He has floor length.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah, she's creepy.
Is that her?
Yeah, that's like her heart that's at the bottom of her, and she's got this crazy cord.
Jesus.
Oh, she's creepy. And you have to fight her. Yeah, Jesus. So Sephiroth eventually grows up, and he eventually comes to realize he finds Genova. He like feels the call within him. He finds what he calls he calls Genova his mother. Like Genova is mother to him. So he basically realizes, oh, it is my destiny as her successor to destroy this planet. Like I originally,
That's
Sephiroth. Like Genova originally intended. So Sephiroth, that's from the movie Advent Children, yay!
He looks also kind of emo-y.
Oh God,
They all kind of.
Yeah,
do.
what's all this emo-y stuff?
You don't
He's
even
like,
know how. That's pretty
School
accurate.
sucks. Am I right?
That's pretty correct. That's about how he feels about everything. But he feels that way about the whole planet. So in his mind, he's like, okay, I'm Genova's successor. It is time for me to do what she originally intended, take over this planet, use it as a vessel to basically pilot through the universe to find the next planet to destroy everything on that one too. And it's like this consecutive thing. Genova is always looking for the next planet to destroy and then continue on her path. So Sephiroth is the embodiment of this age-old spatial evil, and it's just like, oh man, talk about wild. And there's so many other cool parts where you're fighting pieces of Genova. Like you fight a Genova arm, a Genova leg, stuff like that, and Sephiroth like pops in and out every now and then to antagonize you, and eventually you fight him for real. But it's just, he's so classic.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get more classic in Final Fantasy. Well, other people might argue that it does, but they're wrong. It doesn't get more classic than Sephiroth. Like, he's it. For a lot of Final Fantasy fans, he's top shelf villain.
Can't get much worse than the physical embodiment of the galactic evil.
Galactic evil Genova.
It seems like the worst person.
It's pretty bad.
in the world.
Do you mind restarting that? That's probably about to stop really quick just before I kick off my numero uno
Numero uno.
to bring us home.
All right, Jerrett, let's wrap it up here. What's your number one?
That's fine.
Oh, never mind. Deck's taking forever. Blah, 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 blah.
So my number one to bring us home
Bringing us on in.
is a villain who spanned similar to Ganondorf, but not
Is
really.
it Bowser?
No, it's not. Yes!
Somebody's got to talk about
Oh, I was like, what?
What?
It's Bowser!
It's Bowser. I love him.
No, it's not Bowser. Even though he is a great villain. Everyone's fairly familiar with Mario, so we're
Luigi.
not feeling that one. Not feeling that character
real
for
villain.
today.
The real villain, Luigi.
Sheeple.
I have mentioned this villain in a past episode, in our campaign missions episode.
Can we guess?
Is it from
guess.
Star Wars?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
No.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Come
I know
on.
you know. I'm glad you know
Campaign
this many.
missions. I don't remember any of yours.
Okay.
What did we talk about?
I remember
that
mine.
one also was like 20 episodes ago. So
We can't remember that far back.
So this one ties into that one. His name is from the Call of Duty Modern Warfare series. Vladimir Makarov.
Is he the no Russian guy?
Yes.
I remember that.
So Makarov doesn't become a player until Modern Warfare 2. But he has been influenced and was a follower of the main villain of Modern Warfare, Imran Zakhaev. And Imran Zakhaev is killed in Modern Warfare, and so Makarov takes over as his big bad and the leader of the Russian ultra-nationalists terrorist organization.
Aren't we all ultra-nationalists?
So basically,
Come on.
Makarov hits my top baddie for this episode of Top Baddies.
Oh.
Because he was responsible for many, many, many terrible things. So he does instigate the massacre in the Russian airport in Modern Warfare 2.
That's enough there.
Yeah, seriously.
That's bad enough.
In the mission No Russian. He also later on took a few notes of his exploits.
I remember we talking about that mission because it was under favorite missions. And
Yeah, and I was like, it's not really my favorite. It just
We were
stood
like,
out.
we've learned a lot
just
about
remember
Jerrett
that.
today.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't approve of it.
I
It's just
replay
like
it all the time.
it stands out in my head.
Yeah.
But no, so anyway, he was for the Russian airport massacre. He also is the one who then shot your character in that mission because he realized you're an American undercover, which then helps launch or causes Russia and America to basically go into all-out war, and then causes the Russian invasion of the U.S. in these games and all this stuff. He also, in Modern Warfare 3, unleashes chemical attacks on many European cities like London, and I want to say a couple cities in France and maybe a couple other European ones. I remember London for sure because that's like at a cutscene. So obviously that kills hundreds to thousands of more people as well. And then he also, on top of that, in Modern Warfare, one of the characters, because a common theme in the Call of Duty games, not so much recently, but in some of the older ones, is you would switch off and play as different people, depending on different missions, like wherever you were in the world. One of the main character you're introduced to for the first mission in Modern Warfare is Soap. Is his nickname, Soap McTavish.
Just a bar of soap.
Yeah,
It's a great
he'll
nickname.
clean you up.
He'll mop
He'll
the
clean
floor
up
with
that
you.
battlefield.
Yeah.
So Soap McTavish, he's been like your main dude as part of the British Special Forces throughout Modern Warfare 1 and also in Modern Warfare 2. He is injured and almost killed near the end of Modern Warfare 2. Recovers and continues to go on and fight against Makarov. So you're doing this one mission where you are trying to assassinate Makarov, but Makarov has found out about the plan, and it backfires, and he it mortally injures and kills Soap. So this character that you've been as for 3 games, Makarov straight up kills him.
I keep just seeing McEnroe, like the tennis player.
John McEnroe just hitting people with tennis rackets. But no, so that was the big thing, and like what really cements Makarov, because it's like the other things that happen, yes, truly terrible, these terroristic acts that he takes out, but he straight up kills this guy that your main guy that you've been a part of and everything for these last 3 games.
Oh,
And so
Douchebag.
but now another character who's also playing and who's a big thing in the first Modern Warfare through the third one is Captain Price, who is the leader of the Special Forces. So he's Soap's commander and all this stuff. Okay. He's a badass dude. Don't want to cross Captain Price, which is what Makarov did by killing Soap.
Oh no.
Now, he also
Mistake number 1.
because like in various parts of Modern Warfare 2 or 3, you go to like try to capture Makarov at a safe house, but he like booby traps that and like winds up killing a bunch of your
psycho.
like through his thoughts. He just like massacres. He massacres
Crazy.
Everybody, basically.
asshole, dude.
So like,
An asshole.
so it's one thing to be like a terrorist. It's another thing to be a terrorist who just like straight up wrecks
Yeah.
shop for everybody. That's not allowed. It's not cool. It's not allowed at all. So basically, he kills Soap, and Captain Price is like, that's it. This fucker's gonna die. And Makarov escapes from and goes into hiding after the main events of the game are completed. But you track him down with the help of an old counterpart to Makarov's, who is now turned to help you. You track him down, to this hotel in Saudi Arabia.
Of course.
And it's just Captain Price and this one guy going against this stronghold. And it granted, a little unbelievable. But you're basically in like bomb squad gear. And you just like walk through this hotel, just like wrecking shop on all the.
Not even stealthing it. You're just busting in through
Captain
the front
Price
doors.
is like, I've had enough of this asshole. It's time to end him. So Makarov again, like you mow through all of his guys. He escapes to the roof and tries to get on a helicopter, which you then are, because you're a badass. So Captain Price, you shoot down that helicopter.
Nice.
And Makarov crashes back onto this glass ceiling. You fight him, punch him out. He's about to get the upper hand on you. Your his old, comrade runs up to try to save you. Shoots Makarov, injures him. Makarov's like, bitch, caps that dude, kills him too. Price is again pissed. Tackles Makarov.
Should be.
Smashes him into this glass ceiling, wraps the cable around his neck, and then just like keeps smashing through the glass. And they both fall through the glass, and Makarov is like hung on the cable. And then Captain Price is able to ride him down. And so he doesn't necessarily like get killed by that, And then so the game ends with you just like sitting down. You hear the police coming. You're just looking at Makarov's dead body, hanging there. You light up a cigar.
They
As
would.
all
They
cool
totally
people
would.
do.
You light up a cigar.
It's
Wait,
badass.
McEnroe, how'd he die? Did the rope hang him? He got
Captain
hung
Price
by the
like
rope?
wrapped a cable around him, and
I
then
see.
they bust through the ceiling, and then he
I
falls
see.
and he gets hung.
I see.
So a fitting end for the terrorist scumbag that is Makarov.
Yeah.
But Makarov tops my list because not only did he commit these atrocious acts of terrorism in the game. He also took out one of the main protagonists of the Modern Warfare series that you had got to actually play of, not like an NPC Sergeant Johnson.
Yeah, he's an NPC.
I couldn't think of his rank. Not like Sergeant Johnson, who's an NPC that you were just with.
Right.
You actually got to play this person, and he like straight up like kills him in one of the levels. So Makarov tops the list because of those reasons. Just an all around bad dude, but I was super glad that Captain Price was able to put him into his grave.
Nice.
That's what we all wanted.
That's what we all wanted.
It's what I wanted by the time that game rolled around.
Did you play Grand Theft Auto 5?
I haven't finished it yet. I've got
Did you
on
do
to
that
other
torture
things.
scene with Trevor, and when you torture somebody?
I don't think I got that far yet.
No, I'm thinking of that.
Well, yeah,
Trevor's a bad dude, though.
Trevor's
too.
a bad dude.
Trevor would
and I
be a
was
pretty
thinking
good
like,
villain.
it would be cool if you caught McEnroe. I will refer to him.
McEnroe.
And you get to torture him. But I was like, that's a little sick. But
He's
then I was like,
played
well,
his
in
last
Grand Theft Auto
match.
5, you do torture somebody. And you have to turn the electricity up. You got to do everything.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I thought you
No, I haven't played that far. I've
Okay.
started Grand Theft Auto 5. I've just gotten sidetracked by
Yeah.
other things. I'll get around to it eventually to
Okay.
finish it up. But ladies and gentlemen, that has been our list of some of our favorite villains. As always, we would love to know which villains top your list. So please let us know by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Facebook and Twitter, and sending us your lists there. And again, just got to give a shout out to the YouTube. Got to keep pushing that YouTube because you can watch this cool video along with some other cool videos like some game clips, some fun episode highlights that Zach made of more humorous moments of our game. Quit texting so I can do the closeout.
I'm listening. I'm about to actually say something pertaining to
Man,
this.
focus. Block it out.
I'm going to put together a little special thing.
Ooh.
Well, I want to at least. Or unless,
it.
or no, who wants to edit it? One of
I
us
can
should
do
edit
it.
You can do
I
it.
can. Yeah, let me do it.
So I'm going to get all your Overwatch clips, and I'll make a little minute montage of our Overwatch
Minute
game.
Hell yeah.
montage.
Because that's the only thing though. I don't know. Can I get it offline?
We can get the clips and then send them to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to set
Send
it
me
up
the
to
clips.
export.
Send me the clips. It'll take me just like an evening.
Sweet.
Just like
So
a
look
week.
for an upcoming Overwatch highlights reel featuring gameplay by all three of us. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Team Chat Podcast. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan,
Adios.
and to my left, Zachary Parks.
Peace out.
We'll see you all next time.